and welcome to VOP this morning. My name is Esther Wachuku. Well, the president is yet to say what it plans to do with the 400 billion naira it saved from subsidy, and questions are indeed beginning to rise regarding the whereabouts of the money. Plus, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has made a forecast. Now, 14 states are marked for heavy rains and eventual flooding between July 4 and 8. In the meantime, you may click on the like button and subscribe to our page on YouTube, where Voice of the People TV, and other social media platforms. We are at voptvlive. All right, so make sure you share, like, comment, and be part of the conversation this morning. First off, however, we'll be heading into what the front pages are saying. And it's an interesting one because usually we don't do the front pages. I'm not going to be doing it alone. As usual, we have our in-house analyst, Cyril Abaku. Cyril, good morning.
Good morning, Nesta.
How are you?
Great.
Yeah, the headlines are interesting today, but let's first of all start off with the Punch newspaper this morning, where the major headline there is flood alert. States order evacuation as FG issues disaster warning. Okay. Number ones of massive flood in Kano, Delta, Kebbi, Plateau, 10 others. And Akwa Ibom, Delta, other residents demand alternative shelters. That's the major headline on the Punch newspaper this morning. And of course, we have above it where we see that there are principal officers, National Assembly crisis splits, APC National Working Committee, Adamu meets Tinubu. It's an interesting one you see there. And telecoms investments hit $75 billion. 5G subscriptions now 60,000. That's by the NCC. And we have Tinubu not indicted over forfeited $460,000. Bamidele tells Tribunal. That story actually trended yesterday. Bottom page, UTME forgery. Reps order probe. Fraudulent app developers risk dismissal. And we also have Lagos Killer Cop dismissed for shooting generator repair dead. That's an unfortunate story. That's on pages 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper this morning. But first of all, I actually want us to look at this headline, the major headline of the Punch newspaper, where it says, flood alert, states order evacuation as LG issues disaster warning. Cyril, every year when it's getting to the season, the rainy season, we always hear them or give advisory alerts on areas that could be submerged by water. But we thought that before the year whereby rain comes in, where we're going to experience heavy rainfalls, that measures would have been done, to curtail this.
Yes, so I quite agree with you. And this is one of the areas we could channel subsidy monies into. Barring, of course, transportation and other sectors. But the fact that year in, year out, this same thing keeps on happening. The floods are not to blame. I've said it time and again. The floods are not to blame. It is us who are to blame. It's a shame that by now we've not built shelters in permanent places where we know that, on high grounds where the floods will not be able to. So if you're in Abia, if you're in Rivers, if you're in Kaduna or Kano, you know where to go, the nearest possible shelter place where you can go. And we're not doing that. Perhaps because we didn't also do better with the IDP camps in Borno and all those places. We've not learned emergency procedure. And I do not really think it's because we don't have the NEMA and the other agencies that can do this work. The Red Cross is there, NEMA is there, and so on. NEMA was even set up in 1999 for this specific
same reason.
Yes. But I would like to think that maybe corruption, lack of political will, lack of sincerity of purpose, lack of seriousness to really look at this matter and take it for what it is. Otherwise, we shouldn't be at this level. It was last year that the President Buhari was saying NEMA should that Nigeria that we now needed to design a national master plan for dealing with flooding and so on. And I like where the editor put the headline: 7 years after coming into office was when the president was asking for a blueprint. So if by this time next year we are facing this same problem, then President Tinubu will be solely to blame. Because the fact is, these things happen perennially. You can't fold your hands and say nothing is going to happen. The people in the Netherlands, how have they survived? They even brag, sort of. They say God gave them the water. They created the land. Because nether means beneath. Nether, So Netherlands, they are actually beneath water level.
Yeah, they're...
That whole part of the world is called the Low Countries. Denmark, Netherlands, I think Iceland and so on, the Low Countries. So because they are low-lying, the rest of the world is on high ground. They are actually low. They are in the water. Nether means beneath, under. Netherlands, Holland. So they are literally in water. But they found a way to, to
live there.
So why is it? In fact, it means that they've developed technology to conquer. Because I'm a Christian, I believe that God said we should dominate the earth. So they've been able to dominate that space. Water, land. Why? All that we need to do is to just build houses.
Could it be that the advisors for strategic planning, especially for road infrastructure, do not usually pursue until it gets...
You will be amazed, Esther. More than 50 years of social science research in Nigeria. Solutions abound. Geography studies. Didn't we read books like Go Chenglong and Adeleke back in the day? If you from UI to Uniben, and I say this is not that to Uniport, all these places, there are geographers who understand this now, who have said a lot of things. Are you not even amazed that there is the National Meteorological Agency? They are not even the ones talking. The ones speaking are NEMA. Ideally, they could even be one body, but it's fine. NEMA, of course, they will tell. NEMA cannot manufacture the shelters or manufacture a solution. They only work with what they have. In the end, you see that you see they carry camera and say the minister has gone to visit people that were affected by flood, or the vice president. They go palm oil, salt, pure sachet water, and blankets. Is that what we should be talking about? Why does it have to be communist? Because the vice president or president went there. It should be Nigerians looking out for Nigerians. This is not a place. So the blueprint is there. Quite frankly speaking, these people do trainings. Global best practices in managing them, but in the end, nothing is working. What we need to do is to go and check how much have we budgeted for NEMA since 1999, how much was approved, and how much actually got into NEMA's account, and how was this money? I mean, if you do this tracing now, you see where the problem is coming from. So it's us undoing us. It's not nature.
Wow.
Can you stop the sun from shining, whether it is scorching or not? You cannot do that. Day will break, night will come. But the fact is, what you do with what nature hands you is what all these floods that they say, floods and water flowing everywhere, it's energy. Everything God created has energy in it. Okay? The Kainji dams and all these dams, is it not water?
Of course it's water.
It's energy. We've been able to draw power from those places. So what stops us from thinking creatively? The problem, like I say, look, there are things that are man-made. So there are things that are natural. And if we couldn't do anything about it, it's fine. But when the problem is man-made, these floods, these rains, for me, as far as I'm concerned, they may still be natural, but the consequences that we face are purely man-made.
You know why I believe you when you say these are issues that we can resolve ourselves. I read an article recently where the US is considering blocking the sun from having direct access to the earth because of global warming. They want to reduce it, and where we don't no longer experience this whole unnecessary climate change. So I believe you when you say
Esther, it's just let me land with this. You see, it's like I said, it's about deliberate planning and everything. In the US that you were mentioning, that you were talking about in the state of Florida, last week, 4 persons came down with malaria.
Oh, it was a serious warning when that situation came up.
In fact, they had the statistics. They said it was the first time in 20 years it was coming. They were deploying helicopters.
Something that we live with here.
And malaria kills. Malaria is the biggest. What we have in Nigeria for malaria is a pandemic. Well, a pandemic is global, so let me say it's an epidemic, actually. People are dying in the hundreds every day in Nigeria over malaria. They've not declared it an emergency. Nobody gives a hoot about what.
It's a way of life.
But in America, in fact, it was world news.
When I heard that news, I was like, malaria is a situation there.
No, because malaria is endemic in the tropics.
Yes.
So over there, it's in fact the money you use to treat malaria in America is enough to open a hospital in Nigeria.
So, I heard that Nigerians who travel over there have to take malaria capsules from here. Because if you go and tell them
they don't,
malaria,
yes, they wouldn't because it's alien to them. There was a guy who came to Nigeria in 2015 to vote for Buhari in Kaduna. I think it was even a basketball player. He had voted and didn't know that a malaria that the mosquito, the female anopheles mosquito, had bit him. He flew back. Then he came down with malaria. They didn't know what to do with him. And he died. Esther, he died.
It's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, honestly. Now, let's go to another national daily here, which is the Guardian newspaper. And it says, trouble in health sector as drugs cost of care spike by 150%. That, of course, is on the Guardian newspaper. One would say that this kind of headline is expected. Forex scarcity and a naira devaluation cause. All right. We also have Akpabio under pressure, faces uproar over uneven distribution of 500 billion naira loan to SMEs. That is too new for him to go through this. And that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. This morning, UTM FMNG meets Tinubu on new gas plant, promises to cash prices. We also have SGF, that is Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, Government of the Federation. Governors, editors hail the flagship at 40. I think that's an editorial there. We also have sports levy, row over 150 million naira monthly deduction from police salary. All right, I think the major headline of the Guardian today is concerning trouble in the health sector's drugs. Cost of care spiked by 150%. Most of the drugs that we use for our healthcare here is actually imported, which of course is determined by forex. It's not surprising if we are already seeing the unevenness of the naira to the dollar. So what's your take on this?
Look, I grew up. My parents were patent medicine dealers. My parents were for more than 50 years. That's the business we've done. Okay. Oh. This is even, for more than 50 years, we've been patent medicine dealers. I fairly understand how this thing works. Nigerian pharmaceutical production is one of the best in Africa. If not, and has potential to actually be a world beater. Okay? There are branches of certain medicines that Nigeria has been able to, that we produce locally, that what we produce is really what we consume. As in, it's okay for it, it's fine. There are brands of paracetamol, for example, that are produced locally, and everybody knows, it's working. Well, it's a bit too early in the day for us to conclude where the president is heading. But I would have thought that, it's good. Switzerland wants to come and invest. America wants. They're all asking questions. You see, the thing is, local investors, as if they don't have a choice. It's their country. They will invest. Because they want to make profit and eat. But foreign investors have a lot of questions to ask to say, if we come there, is the sun good? Is the rain good? Is the, and so on. I would have loved to think, Mr. President, what are the areas we can plug in locally? Low-hanging fruits. What are the areas we can empower local manufacturers to immediately begin production and profitably so? Because why do foreign investors come here? It is because of the market.
Yeah, sure.
We have the numbers. We have the numbers. And that's why they come. Because Nigerians, iPhones, Nigerians we buy. We consume, we buy. Because we are sort of ostentatious. We want to we like to show off. Yes. I have the latest this, I have the latest that.
It's African
Nigerians love to buy things. So I'm a bit flustered as to where we are, because this whole, why do we need foreign exchange? Why can't we be left to me alone? I would have said that for between now and December, manufacturers in Nigeria, all the industries should not pay electricity bills. Yes, man. No, Esther, take it from me. If I was president, power will be free in Nigeria. Except we've not sat down to ask ourselves where it is we really want to head ahead. How did Dubai come up with tax with removing taxes? And today, a perfume will be produced in France. Somebody, if a French citizen will not buy it in France, would rather travel to Dubai to go and buy that same perfume in Dubai. Why? How? I had this idea before I even read about the Dubai story. No, electricity bills free of charge. Entirely free. This is the only way you're going to stimulate the economy and bring the details of it. Of course, we can have that discussion later, but I'm telling you that. So, because what has man said? Man has said that for the mere fact that electricity tariff is about to be increased, more people are going to leave the country. They will pull out and walk away. They've warned. Why are we not listening to them? This whole thing about local investment, the Nigerian economy revolves around one thing: the dollar. Here is about devalue or not devalue. Devaluation is what? Against the dollar. Everything. The dollarization of the Nigerian, there are places in Nigeria today, and this has been on for more than 10 years, 20 years, that some transactions cannot take place in Naira. Is dollar used in Nigeria here?
Yes, it's true. I've experienced that in the bank.
In Nigeria here. So why we decide now? How can we make our economy come back with buoyant? It's not about speaking. Look, there are practical things you must get done. There are catchment places. Aba, for example, they can produce just anything. What is our immediate? The World Bank came there one time, did the program, did everything. They brought those giant generators as the NEPA. Eventually, the thing just didn't take off. What can we do in the shortest time possible? When COVID broke out, do you know that there was this talk about face mask? It was Aba. It was in Aba that people came out and said, we can produce all these face masks Nigerians need. Free, as in that they could produce it. Then suddenly we saw that people in Lagos kind of started producing. If you want Ankara, you use the Ankara. It was in Aba. Because of course as an editor of the Tory came in, I remember it was from Aba that thing came out first. So we are not. What we need to do is to look inwards. Look inwards. What can we really do?
Would you say the problem is leadership, specifically from Aba? Would you say the problem is leadership?
No, the Aba thing. So when I say Aba, I wasn't referring to the governor of Abia State. We're talking about the dollar.
Yes.
Fiscal policies that come from the federal government. But I'm saying that if you want to reduce the dependence on foreign exchange, so what we can look inward. So the president Abuja can look at Abia, for example, and say, Mr. Oti, give us a 6-term. What can we do? We'll support you. We'll give you every support you need. How can we in the next 6 months? Yeah,
that's true. Ben, I did that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Garment factory in Rivers.
Cross River,
yes,
actually.
Yes.
Why are we not looking at all those things? You see, sometimes a governor can bring up a policy and whatever, maybe wants to win re-election, you just want to do propaganda. But if the federal government sees that, and there's a new governor there, by the way, why can't we get and say, God, this government factory, what can we do immediately? What's the state of things? What can we do? How can we plug in with you? Okay, federal government can say, we will invest. Let's invest and bring in people that can manage the place. We will do the managing and share the profit. This thing is not cast in stone. I sincerely find it. When it's like somebody sitting money down. Till now, we've not been told what we want to do with it. Are we that undecided?
According to the president during his inaugural broadcast, he said it will go into transportation, agriculture, and education.
We can't think for him. Look, things can change.
No, that's what he said.
Between May 29 and now, things can change. So he said that, and then now, don't come and tell us in 2 weeks now that you've already spent the money. What do you want to do with it? Esther, I don't know if you're aware of this, but let me just chime this in. During the Civil War, before that war for about 3 years, Chief Awolowo was finance minister to go on. Every day, not every week, or every day for that period of time, Awolowo was given an account of the economy, how it was to the head of state, every day. Why can't we be that meticulous? It's not enough to talk about our heroes past and our fathers and the great things they did, and that we are successors to what they... Can you walk the road they walked? Can you do the things they did? Every morning, every day, he said, see what we have spent, see what... In fact, when things became... There was a time Awolowo even went to the war front and said, you people said we should buy you this and that. I want to see the number of soldiers who are really using these things. Can we be that meticulous and down to it? Especially in this era of AI and technology.
That's true.
So this thing delaying to say what you will do with the money and so on and so on. They've told him, Mr. President, don't share this money to the governors. It will be a waste. You've recouped the money. So let's know because you see the thing is this, money that you tie down does not add any value. It is when you invest the money that it begins to bring forth yields. So
I think it's good that we're already asking the questions.
The longer we delay, I find it a bit worrisome that we are still at this level at this time. Sorry, there was another headline you took about the APC and the formation of the...
Is it Akpabio under pressure?
No.
Which other one?
The previous paper, you talked about Adamu to meet Tinubu and so on.
That is in Punch newspaper.
They must be...
The principal officers, National Assembly crisis splits, APC, National Working Committee, Adamu meets Tinubu. Because personally, I don't think the APC has any problem. Well, you think so?
There's no problem there, my sister. There's no problem there. We've seen anybody who saw how they were going into electing Akpabio and they would have thought, it was going to... I always said it. If you have the confidence, step on the floor of the Senate, be nominated and fight for the office. That happened. There was a winner and there was a loser. The loser said he was betrayed and so on. It is politics. Play the politics. The people that supposedly betrayed you, they could have betrayed someone else too. If you didn't play politics well enough, it's up to you. Now they're angry that what happened. Akpabio is the president's friend. The president endorsed Akpabio to be Senate president. Akpabio has announced
so it means he's in tandem with the president.
The president is not complaining. And he's the national leader of the party. I don't know why some people are angry that Esther, yesterday, the person that was appointed Senate leader, majority leader,
yes,
where was he?
He was at the election petition tribunal.
To do what?
To defend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And the president is angry that he became majority leader of the Senate. Please.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. We also have in the Nation newspaper this morning, Discos intensify efforts for electricity tariff hike approval. All right. Distribution companies weighing option of gradual increase in what consumers pay. You know, Siri, you just actually talked about that now. And then we have bottom page, Obi not Labour Party member when nominated, Tinubu tells tribunal. President, APC lawyers tender Labour Party membership register, close defense. We have IM Me Too visit Tinubu, okay president's reforms. That's on page 8 of the Nation. And jam result row, why Miss Oma was barred, 6 profs to probe result forgery. I got an SMS that I scored 249. Rep, stay action until probe ends. And that story is on page 15 and 16 of the Nation newspaper. Let's start with the major headline serial. Discos intensify efforts for electricity tariff hike approval. What do you think is going to happen now?
What has always happened is what's going to happen.
With the hike in electricity?
Of course.
It's not going to be funny, Serial.
We know it's not going to be funny. We know we don't like it. We know we don't want it. We know it is untimely, it is insensitive. It is not the best thing that can happen now. But normally, Nigerian government, I mean, you look at how they engage the public, they first fly a kite and gauge how people respond to it. This is 2 weeks after the first headline came out that it was 40%. Do you see now that they want to wear the public out?
Not sure.
It's gradual. They will now see. You will be amazed now that fewer people are going to speak against it. So after a while, before you know, the tariff will just stroll in quietly.
All right.
That's what they've always done. But I don't know if the NEC has to make sure that their approval they didn't give before, they don't give it now. Because Nigerians are going through so much. There is the VAT on diesel. There is the VAT now on market women. There is the 1,000 naira on motor owners. There is if you went to a lot of places now, toll gates and the monies you pay have increased. Okay, there's a whole lot happening. There's a whole lot going on. So at the same time, you want to increase the salary of the president and increase how much we pay for electricity. I think it is the most unsavory thing that anybody can do. We appeal to them. Stay this increase. The argument they're making is that because the dollar rate has gone up, they too, their value chain, they think that they're doing everything has gone up. But then when poor Nigerians have to be the end receivers of all of these things, because in the end, not only will the economy contract, it will collapse. And that's not good for anybody. When people want to invest less, people want to put less money down, or at most move their investments elsewhere. Does that pay anybody? I don't think it does. I honestly don't think so. I think we appeal to them. Do not approve this increase, NEC. Let them hold on. And because what's affecting me is also affecting us. Otherwise, Esther, we will come to the point where people will have to steal to survive. No, but it's the truth. When everything is choking people like that, how do you think they're going to make it? It's because if they can't take it on the table, they're going to have to take it under the table. The minimum wage increase, we are still waiting for them to hear what they're going to say. Because minimum wage now has to go. I don't know why NLC went and said 150,000 naira when even teams had said 200,000. As it is today. See, we believe with government, and we are praying for them that they will succeed. But the way they've increased everything now, increase minimum wage also. When things get better, when the policy gets better, and things are good, you can bring it back down. But to hope that we should die for them to live, that's the one that we will not do. You get my point? That we should die for them to live. The people that died during cash crunch, where are they now? Some people got sick, stroke, died. Those women that were fighting in Bankilon and removed their clothes and so on. The people that died, can we bring them back from the dead? Is the economy better today now? It means they died in vain. So that's what I'm saying. Mr. President can increase the motor levy even to 10,000 naira per year, but increase minimum wage to 500,000. Then, when things get, so that we can pay your taxes, when things get better, bring us back, then all of us will say, oh yeah, let's go back to. So when we do that, all of us will be fine. But for you to be fine at our own expense, I don't think that will be that's wise enough.
Wow. All right, so let's go on to the Daily Trust newspaper, where I actually have as a major headline there. APC crisis, Tinubu meets Adamu Omishore, resolves rift over principal officers. And the writer there says, endorses Akpabio, Abbas actions, issue laid to rest. It's a family affair. National Chairman Cyril just said that. President's men unhappy with chair. It's not about Adamu, but North, ex-governor. You see all of that is on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. We have subsidy removal, Kwara reverses to 5 working days. Okay. Dismissal from APC, Goje appeals judgment, file stay of execution. And we also have the same as well, the bottom page of the Daily Trust this morning. Telecoms investment in Nigeria hits 56.7 trillion naira, and that's by Danbata. We have dollar videos, forensic analysis has exposed Ganduje anti-graft agency. We'll be hearing more of that as the story develops. And pregnant woman dies as doctors begin strike in Nasarawa. That's an unfortunate story. We've continuously had to go through this. Cyril, let's talk about the situation with the health sector. It's vital to talk about that. I know we've run out of time, but let's quickly talk about this. A pregnant woman dies as doctors begin strike in Nasarawa. Doctors have always gone on strike due to issues unresolved between an agreement between them and the federal government. Unfortunately, the casualty is an innocent citizen who went to the hospital to get proper care, and she passed on. She died. What would you say to this?
Now, the first thing, this woman died probably is up to 24 hours or more. I don't know if the governor has rushed, has quickened the space to see how he can resolve that industrial problem. You see, because it takes two to tango. We can blame the doctors all you care, the Hippocratic Oath and so on. But it appears that in Nigeria is a very, very different country. People dying. This sort of thing should have been a scandal, should have become a news on government's neck. Nobody cares anymore. I think that's what we really should be bothered about.
The fact that nobody actually
no, but there's nobody, no head is going to roll, nothing, nobody, you just hear, it's, I told the other time, 4 people had malaria in Florida. It was
you see, that's lack of empathy. It's a norm here. Why?
No, over many years we've become extremely numb, to public outcry, to how people feel. No empathy. We don't empathize. We don't feel for the other person. Government does not even realize that they are there for the people, that they're not there for themselves. Will the governor allow his daughter, his wife, his maid, his whatever to be in that kind of situation? Do they even use those hospitals?
Of course not.
That is even the problem. We need to make a law saying that no governor or elected leader must travel outside Nigeria for medical treatment and must use a private hospital.
The reps and the
for the next 10
senators,
for the next 10 years and see what happens. Buhari, with all the propaganda that brought Buhari to power and the 8 years he spent in office, we would not build one single world-class health facility, either revamped UCH Ibadan or Zaria or UBTH in Benin or even Luth, in Lagos here, or UPTH in Port Harcourt. Anything. How many of them can boast? There are many federal facilities and whatever in states that if governors didn't put money, look at the police in states. If governors didn't give police commissioners money to run the police in the states, or even give, sometimes you hear the president, the Abuja, they deploy soldiers to, if governors don't support them, if governors don't bring out money to support them, or certain institutions like NGDs and so on, they will not be able to do nothing. In Lagos, it was Governor Bode who bought motorcycles, bought helicopter. You remember that time? Then the police does not report to him. Something he has absolutely no control over. But he spent about 6 billion naira buying a helicopter and all these things for the police to police Lagos. So this is the problem. They have lost the meaning and essence of the work they were called to do. So if it is not source for the goose, how do you think it should be source for the gander? Unfortunately, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that bears the brunt. You know, I honestly, I appeal to doctors, I appeal to these people, because what you deal with is lives. But Esther, we've also seen doctors dying on duty.
Yes.
I'm telling you,
it happened
we've seen doctors collapsing.
It happened during COVID.
We've seen doctors collapsing, doctors, losing their families over because of course, by the nature of what they do, the last case never comes. There's always another person to attend to, another thing to do, another thing to do. So it should be taken of the public when his take home cannot take him home. This is just where we are. So if what happened, somebody can say doctors don't go on strike, but now that they have to go for whatever reason, somebody has died. What has the government done? What have they done? Have you had government say anything? So I can't be fooled, Yes.
All right. So Ms. Omar makes U-turn, admits scoring 249 in JAMB. This story has been developing. We are hearing from Ms. Omar. We're also hearing from a lot of critics who have been criticizing the whole situation. Some are for, some are against. But it is in no way developed into an ethnic, it had an ethnic tone into it. If you had followed Twitter yesterday, it was with diverse views. And the question now is, has the country become a place where, rather than saying the truth for what it is, giving punitive measures for any form of criminality, we are saying, there is an undertone of political bias, possibly because she's from a particular region, and that's why it's not taken seriously. There have been disparaging views concerning this JAMB whatever. But the thing is, others have come out to say that JAMB has always gone through this. The technical aspects of JAMB needs to really do an overhaul, because that's what created an avenue for this kind of anomaly to take place. And others have come out to testify that they've gone through this kind of audio, like Ms. Omar. But what's your take on this case?
And also, first of all, it's a good thing that we have closure, but I still personally feel that JAMB was high-handed in the way it went about. They were high-handed, which was not necessary. That's one. Number two, because Nigerian institutions are never vulnerable. You go to school, go to university, during clearance, if anything happened that was wrong, if you made a mistake, you won't be spared. Yes. But if the system made a mistake, you are left helpless. You know what I'm talking about?
You have to sort yourself.
Yeah, so in the case of
Ms.
Omar and JAMB, I think the girl has admitted about JAMB was still a bit high-handed. That's one. Number two is the fact that you have a body as sensitive and as big, as serious as JAMB is, and you have fake apps that can design, and nobody was reporting those apps. Nobody thought, JAMB didn't spot that thing to report it. JAMB didn't spot it to report it. I find it worrisome, one. Number two is the fact that people have actually had this problem, Ms. Omar or not, app or not. So can we honestly open an investigation? Because you see, when this kind of things happen, it's not a Ms. Omar versus JAMB issue. Yes. It's about the whole gamut, what really happen. So can we, as people who write JAMB and have conflicting results, normally if you even did CBT, the way CBT should even be done is that as you click and say end, your result should just come out
immediately.
You take it and go your way.
There's no need to wait.
This whole thing about we have written and waiting for results to come out we are a bit behind civilization anyway. So that's the way it ought to be. So, but can we now honestly say JAMB and technology, what exactly is the problem? CBT, of course, is the way to go. The whole world has gone digital, technological, and so on. But what because Ms. Omar is not the only person.
She's not the only person.
Can we now have people who, if you've had this problem in the past, can you come forward? Let's look at what the issue is. there's nothing wrong with the Ministry of Education looking at what JAMB is doing, opening JAMB's books and saying, okay, let's even have an audit. For the past 5 or 6 years, we've turned JAMB into a revenue agency. They are not there for the revenue. It's a good thing that after Professor Dimbo Jerinde left, we now have Ishak Oloyede, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ilorin, who appears to have brought a lot of probity and integrity into the process. He's able to, you know, tell government that, look, there's more money in JAMB than was being remitted. It's fine, it's brilliant. But those monies, can you plow them back into making the way JAMB does his work much better?
All right, Cyril. Thank you. We need to round off. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Cyril Abako, for your contribution right here on the headlines of VOP this morning. But we need to continue. The conversation still continues. And up next, we have President Bola Tinubu has a deadline within which to say what the 400 billion naira saved from subsidy will be used for or face court action. Details when we return.